What an uneventful Monday of June 28th of 2021. I sure hope something more eventful happens and oh hey, BZJB dropped their 10.7 update, let's see. Some Uber Talons, Princess Pun Talons? Oh okay. And wait a second. No way. Oh no, they removed the O Fortuna music? Oh, this update sucks. And I guess that's about it for this update. Seems kinda just boring, and I guess there's also some CatCombos, but CatCombos aren't really that exciting. Hold on, 3 new non-Uber CatCombos featuring little cats? And they're 2-slot combos. Wait, this Minisaurus combo, it's a 2-slot non-Uber research combo? Oh, okay, never mind. This update is huge for me. I don't even know if Ponos realizes what they have done. This Minisaurus combo is a huge deal. Oh, you wanna know why? Oh, here, I'll tell you why. But before we get to Minisaurus itself, let me get you some better explanation on what CatCombo is, if you're not too familiar with it. CatCombo is a mechanic in Battle Cats that allows you to like buff your units or buff certain effects or give yourself some sort of advantage if you have certain combination of cat units in the first row of your lineup. First row meaning only the first 5 units. There's cat combos for like unit boosting effects like damage up or health up or speed up, as well as ability boosting effects such as like freeze up or strengthen or even crit chance up. You could even have stuff like starting with more money than usual. These combos comes in different tiers, small, medium, and large. There's also extra large, but it's only reserved for the gays. Unfortunately, I didn't manage to make this video in time for Pride Month. But anyways, the 3 different tiers, small, medium, and large, right? Medium is essentially having 2 smalls, and large is essentially having 3 smalls. This isn't always the case, but that's usually how it is. Now, the combo that I mentioned earlier, Minisaurus, is a small research combo that has 2 units, Little Cat and Jurassic Cat. Research is the ability to be able to decrease the cooldown of your units, so you're able to spawn your units faster than usual. There's quite a decent amount of research combos that are like very well known before Minisaurus, like Cheating Hearts, the 2-slot medium research combo that uses Vigler, which is an Uber, Aerial Recon, which is a 4-slot medium combo that doesn't contain Uber, and also has contained a massive damage combo with the double flying cat, and finally Biohazard and Bony Bone. These are 2 different combos, both being a 2-slot small research combo, but both of these combos shares one of the same unit, being Zombie Cat, and you can put both these combos at the same time with only taking up 3 slots. So essentially this is the equivalent of a 3-slot medium combo. Since Biohazard and Bony Bone are used together pretty much all the time, most players refer to this combination as Bio Bone. Now since this is a 3-slot combo and you can put 5 units in your cat combo, this means that you are actually able to now put Minisaurus alongside Biohazard and Bony Bone, making it essentially the equivalent of a large research combo using 5 slots. That's pretty neat, but it's also a whole 5 slots. That's wasting half of the units that you can bring. I say waste because, well, you see, combo units aren't usually super good units. At least not in like a general sense. For example, Biohazard and Bony Bone has Necrodancer, Skelecat, and Hypermister. These units aren't terrible in their own rights. They have their own usages, but they're generally pretty specialized. It's not really something that you would bring to basically any stages, you know? Like Skelecat with Talons can actually be a somewhat decent melee anti-zombie, but not only that anti-zombie is already a very specific niche, the other problem is that there's already a lot of melee anti-zombies that are like really good. Hypermister with Talons is also actually a pretty decent anti-zombie support, especially how he's able to counter burrowing zombies, and he can even be somewhat of like a pseudo-manic lion, being able to clear off some smaller peons. But despite all that, his usage is still pretty limited, it's still pretty niche, and he's not as good as Manic Lion, that's for sure. Necrodancer is actually a pretty good anti-floating unit that is actually able to permanently freeze floating enemies that he outranges if he focuses on it. However, due to his general terrible stats, he's strictly an anti-floating and nothing else. Again, not good for general use. The Uber combo that I mentioned earlier, Cheating Hearts, actually has this a little bit better. Vigler and Rice Ball are actually a more usable unit in a general sense. Vigler is a waiver that is able to freeze enemies for an extremely long time. He has different target trade depending on what forms you use, so you can just pick and choose whichever form you might need depending on the stage, and even if there are no enemies that he counters on the stage, he still kinda works as a waiver unit, even though his attack startup is really long. But he still have like decent amount of damage to actually contribute to a fight. Rice Ball is kind of a standard meat shield. Well, not really. He's a tanky fast meat shield similar to that of like Manic Eraser, but he's pretty pricey. With Talons, he actually does get like a pretty decent bulk of health, and also his Talons gives a lot of immunities as well, but he's still really expensive to spawn in general, so you probably wouldn't really want to rely on him too much, but even then, he's still there. He's still a meat shield, and he can still help as long as you actually invest some talents in him. Now, what about Minisaurus? Minisaurus actually also gets the slightly better end of the stick. Catosaurus is a niche unit, unfortunately. It's not really a good generalist. It's mainly strictly an anti-metal for a critical hitter unit, but he's actually one of the best critical unit out there. He's just all around pretty good as a critical unit. Pretty spammable, decent stats, the damage is actually pretty good. Usually he's most players' first pick when it comes to metal stages. Little Cat is essentially a clone of a generic 75 cost meat shield. It's basically never really wrong to bring. It's just a very traditional good meat shield. Same with Basic Cat and Craze Cat, probably just lacking the speed. But it doesn't stop there. In his true form, Little Mohawk Cat becomes the cheapest unit in the game with only 45 cost. This gives him the edge over stuff like Basic Cat and all that stuff. He still doesn't have enough speed like Manic Mohawk, but that's still nice. Except that Ponos, for some reason, wants to quote-unquote balance this as to not outshine other 75 cost meat shields, I guess. And so they gave Little Mohawk longer cooldown than usual. Pretty much every basic meat shields are like 2 seconds flat, but they added like 0.6 seconds cooldown, which is kind of lame. Except, you know what's really funny? If you use the Minisaurus combo, his cooldown actually goes back to 2 seconds. So he straight up just loses his weakness. He also has talents for like 10% critical chance, which is basically you're just gonna use it for like weak metal units like Metal Doges. And also goes together with Catosaurus, right? But then he also have a talent for wave immunity? That's pretty good. It's kind of funny because a few updates before this, we actually just got our first conventional wave immune meat shield, being Gold Cat's true form. And then a few updates later, they gave Little Mohawk also wave immunity, and these two now basically functions the same, except one costs like 75 NP to get, and the other costs like a Gold Cat fruit. However, only one of these have research combo, so I know my pick at least. But yeah, due to his like critical chance as well as being paired with Catosaurus, the Minisaurus combo is basically free to bring whenever you're in a metal stage. A conventional meat shield and one of the best critical hitters in the game, like you're going to bring these two regardless. So your research combo is basically free. Why wouldn't you use it? It's actually kind of surprising how many times I actually have to remind people to bring Minisaurus. It's a free combo, just bring it, dude. But yeah, Minisaurus is a pretty good research combo. Also, yes, I know I haven't been talking about the details of the effect of research combo itself, but just bear with me here, we'll get to it in a bit. I just first want to point out that research combo has like pretty good units in general usually. Aside from this and Cheating Hearts, the other really popular research combos are Kimono Champ and Bad Guys. These require Ubers, by the way, and both of these are 3-slot large research combo. But since they require Ubers, they're not for everyone. Kimono Champs requires Himeyuri, and Bad Guys requires Last Boss. Let's start with Kimono Champ. Kimono Champ, like Minisaurus, also has a basic meat shield in the combo, which is Awa Odori. It's a very standard meat shield, but in true form has Behemoth Dodge. Okay, I mean, it's not too bad for Behemoth, admittedly, yeah, but I just hate Behemoth, okay? I have a whole video about that. Anyways, Himeyuri herself is also a pretty powerful unit. She's a debuffer for floating and angels. The debuff is extremely consistent, it's very nice slow, on top of just having pretty good general stats. She's able to perfectly fit the role of a range damager. Good damage, good range, good health, whatever. She's just an overall great generalist with great effect. Bad Guys has Killer Cat, which once was a joke unit. Now, still not really the best, unfortunately, but he's somewhat usable for anti-Behemoth floating unit in true form. He's unfortunately kind of mixed, because he's decent for Behemoth, he's decent for floating, and he's decent as a Surge Immune meat shield, but there's always something better than him, unfortunately, in each of those categories. Like, he's actually not terrible, but he's just easily outclassed in all of the niche that he actually works on. Then there's Little Nyandem. He also kind of exists. He has debuff, but it's very inconsistent. He has good range, but doesn't really have good damage. He's there if you want extra attacker slash debuffer, I guess. But the main star of the show is Last Voss himself, which I've covered very briefly in the last video about Bahamut Cat, but you also might already know him as he's one of the pretty much top tier like meta Ubers. He's an extremely powerful nuker unit that can deliver a gigantic amount of damage per hit, which can heavily cripple most super bosses in the game. Might require some setup, might require a little bit of luck, but with just one hit, he's able to potentially either cripple or even just straight up kill a huge amount of super bosses in the game. He's quite nuts. So yeah, yeah, these two combos, Kimono Champs and Bad Guys, are extremely good, not because of that they require only 3 slots for a large combo, but also because the cat units required aren't really bad either, especially compared to using Biobone and Minisaurus, which 1 is actually using 5 slots for the same effect, and 2 doesn't really have the best generalist unit. There's like Little Cat, which is like a generally good basic meat shield, but most of the other units are pretty specialized in their own rights. Like even the good ones, quote unquote, like Catasaurus or Necrodancer, are still pretty niche. They work for what they do, but they don't really work in most stages. Plus, there's already quite a lot of combos in the game that's outside of Research Combo that just has really good units in the combo itself, you know? Like Attack Up Combo, for example. Attack Up Combo, it can just flat out increase the percentage of units damage and also has some pretty good combo units too. For example is Tiny Ancient Hun. It's a 2-slot small attack up combo that uses Little Dragon and Masai Cat. Masai or Zhangshi being a lineup condenser meat shield due to its survive lethal, making it counting as basically 2 meat shields in one, as well as Little Dragon, which in true form Little King Dragon has really good talents like Surge Immunity, Survive Lethal, as well as Extra Mini Wave. Currently widely considered as the best dragon variant in the game. Another combo, Land Air Assault. It's a medium attack combo with 2 slots, Manic Flying Cat and the Uber Diabolosa. It's an Uber but still really good combo. Manic Flying being a pretty expensive but powerful low mid-range stackable attacker. It's a bit of a niche usage, but damage is damage. And Diabolosa being an extremely powerful generalist with crazy potency against Angel, Aku, and zombies. Really good range, really good cost, and just generally powerful damage. Some money related combos are also pretty good. There's combos like that allows you to start the battle with instant money or wallet level, like starting the money with instantly 1000 in your cash or something like that, which opens up the possibility of strategies where you rush certain timer based stages. Some starting money up combo like Rich and Poor contains 2 basic meat shields. Headbanger's Ball contains 2 Cowcat variants, which both are usually used in rushing stages, as well as Ramen Cat, which is a generally powerful meat shield. Offshore Accounts is a funny one because it's a 1-slot combo that has 2 effects because it overlaps with another combo, Itchy Riches, which gives you the effect of starting money and starting wallet with only the richest cat. I can go on and on about other examples of combos with good units, but you get the idea. Research Combo isn't special in this regard. Research Combo aren't really the only combos that have good units in their combinations. And the act of lowering cooldown isn't the only thing helpful around. Like, damage up combos can still be huge if it changed like a unit 2-shotting enemies into 1-shotting enemies. Defense up combos can be huge if it allows certain units to tank extra hits, giving the unit another chance to survive or a longer time to tank. Money startup combo allows you to start the battle earlier, gaining better distance for yourself, as well as opening up the possibility of rush strategies to beat stages without even needing to fight the main threats at all. So what even is the big deal of lowering your cat's cooldown? Why is this supposedly the most broken combo in the game, as you might have seen from the title or thumbnail that I have not yet even decided at this point of recording? Well, all of those previous combos did sound amazing in their own rights, right? But you see, there's something you must know first. So, most combos that buff your units earlier, like damage up, attack up, or even freeze up that allows you to increase freeze duration, they're all percentage based. So, for example, small damage up combo increases your unit's damage by 10%. Defense up gives you a 10% buff on your health. Freeze up would increase your freeze duration by 10%. Accounting power up increases the amount of money that you get by 10%. And so on and so on. It's all percentage based. But Research Combo is very different in this regards, because Research Combo's cooldown reduction doesn't go down by percentage. Instead, it is a flat cut. But why is this a big deal, you might ask? Well, we'll get to that in a bit. So, how much does Research Combo actually cuts your cooldown by? Actually, it's not that much. Small Research Combo reduces your cooldown by 0.87 seconds, or 26 frames. That's not even 1 second. Medium is twice of that, 1.7 seconds, or 52 frames. And large is triple of that, that's 2.6 seconds, or 79 frames. You also cannot reduce a unit's cooldown lower than 2 seconds, by the way. So, basic meat shields, normal erasers, and stuff like that, they already have 2 seconds cooldown. You cannot lower it more than that. That is the minimum cap. However, there's something very unique about the property of a flat cut. And to explain to you the detail on what's so crazy about this, I must present you with Matt Jumpscare. I'm sorry, I figured you probably already got got used to it. This chart isn't as bad as the Bahamut video one, so it's fine. This is definitely more comprehensible. But basically, this is just a chart from number 1 to 10. Simple enough. And there's also like the difference in percentage of between each number. So for example, the number 2 compared to the number 1 is 100% bigger because 1 plus 1 is 2. I think so anyways, that's what I was taught in school. The number 3 is 50% bigger than the number 2. You know, because 2 to 3 is plus 1 and 1 is 50% of 2. So to get from 2 to 3, you need to add 50%. 3 to 4 is 33% different because the number 1 is 33% of the number 3 and blah 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 until the number 10, which is 11% bigger than the number 9. So you kind of get the gist of this, right? You might notice that, you know, the higher the number is, the less the percentage. The difference starts to diminish a little bit, you know? But what's more important is that the lower the number is, the bigger the percentage is. Now, you might understand what I'm trying to say here, right? There's two main points to take from here. One is that flag reduction effect gets stronger the lesser the original number is. This means that high cooldown units like Ubers with 2 minutes cooldown and stuff like that, they would barely get affected by Research Combo. Like if you have like 2 minutes cooldown and then you get Research Combo subtracting your cooldown by like 2 seconds. So what does it even do? Cool, it goes from 120 seconds to 118 seconds. What a crazy change. That's cool. But on the other hand, low cooldown units like Ramen, Cameraman, Sanzo, and all those stuff that has like around 4 seconds cooldown, their cooldowns are greatly affected by the combo. Cutting just like 1 or 2 seconds off of their cooldown increases their spammability by a crazy amount, potentially even doubling on how fast they can spawn now. You see that? The lower it is, the better the effect. Well, as long as they don't hit the 2 seconds minimum cooldown cap, of course. Now, this leads to the second point. If the first point is about how Research Combo is better when the original number is lower, now think about this again. What does Research Combo do? It lowers the cooldown of your units, yeah? And remember how Research effect is bigger if your unit's cooldown is lower? You see where I'm going with this? This means that when you use a Research Combo, you are making the unit to be even more greatly affected by the next Research Combo. Every increment of Research effect that you stack up makes the next Research even more effective. So okay, most other combos like from small, medium, large, they go from 10%, 20% and 30% buff and stuff, right? And if you stack up like 3 small combos, it still goes from 10 to 20 and 30. That's just how Battle Cat maths work. Similarly to addition, this means that the more you stack, the lesser the increase. It's not by much, but it's still diminishing a little bit, you know? But this is the complete opposite of Research Combo, where the more you stack, the stronger the effect becomes. This is part on the reason on why Minisaurus is such a big deal, especially for people who plays without Ubers or people who just doesn't have the Ubers for the large Research combos. Previously, these kind of players would just be capped at essentially having the medium equivalent of Research Combo, either by using Biobone or Aerial Recon. But now with the existence of Minisaurus, you can now actually get an extra stack of Research Combo, opening up the possibility of an L Research Combo with all 5 slots. And again, the more the stack, the bigger the deal. And Minisaurus is a pretty big deal. But alright, you might not really get the idea yet, so let's get on to actual usage cases, right? And I know, how long have I been talking about Research Combo without actually getting to usage cases? I don't actually know. If I have to guess, probably like 5 to 8 minutes. Wait, what? What do you mean it's been 18 minutes? Isn't the video like 20 minutes long? It's 40? What did I talk for 40 minutes for Research Combo? What? But anyways, one of the most common usage for Research Combo is Ramen Cat. Ramen Cat, you might have already known because of how good he is. He is a specialized anti-angel meat shield with low cooldown. And as you know, low cooldown units are good paired with Research Combo. There's quite a lot of other meat shields in a similar boat where they're like specialized meat shield with low cooldown. Stuff like Rover, Shigong, Cactus, Primordial Cat, and so on and so on. These guys are specialized to have extra resistance against certain target traits, usually being pretty tanky but with higher cost than usual meat shields as well as having longer cooldowns for balance. But with Research Combo, you can just remove that longer cooldown downside for a much spammier meat shield, creating a much denser meat shielding and less space between the meat shield, and that is very powerful in stopping the targeted enemy's advances. Yes, you might consider this being like a waste of slot to use up like half of your lineup just for this combo effect, but the buff that you get can just be so incredibly worth it just to make your meat shielding better. A powerful dense meat shielding can be extremely hard to beat. Meat shields aren't the only good usage, of course. Another common example of research combo receiver units are Cameraman and Sanzo. Both are anti-floating units. Both also have like around 4 seconds cooldown, so research combo would benefit them greatly. Cameraman is a stackable mid-ranger damager who's mainly an anti-floating. She has great survivability and her damage is pretty decent, even to a point where she can still be used outside of floating enemies. Research combo, nearly halving her cooldown, essentially allows her to be spammed so much more and therefore allowing you to stack her up incredibly fast. And with a huge stack of Cameraman, your damage goes up incredibly high. And what's even better is that she has great survivability due to her survive lethal ability, which can be guaranteed using talents. Since there's just so much of her being spawned and she's always guaranteed to survive at least one attack using talents, she can somewhat work as like a meat shield, like a ranged pseudo meat shield. So yes, research combo benefits Cameraman extremely well. On the other hand is Sanzo. Sanzo is not a damager and not really a meat shield. Sanzo is just a humble support unit with a 20% chance of slowing floating enemies as well as Angel with talents. A singular Sanzo cannot consistently slow enemies, but 3 or 4 or 5 or more stacked up can easily permanently slow a group of floating or Angel enemies at once. And research combo helps on how fast you can stack Sanzo up, essentially giving extra consistency in his ability, and even to an extent maybe extending his ability duration. Not literally, but in a sense that's kind of what he does. Speaking of anti-floating debuffer, Necrodancer, which is part of the research combo biobone I mentioned earlier, also gets benefit by this pretty well. Necrodancer is a anti-floating freeze unit but is only single target. And being a single target unit, it means that he can potentially waste his attacks on enemies that aren't even his targeted trait. This also happens to another single target debuffer cat, Psycho Cat, which is an anti-alien unit. If you have a big stack of single target debuffer, this would greatly help in consistency and actually landing their hits in where you want them to actually hit. Also yes, Necrodancer and Psycho Cat aren't really a 4-second cooldown unit. Psycho Cat especially, the cooldown is actually relatively higher than that. But even then, they're still greatly affected by research combo, even if not as much by the 4 seconds cooldown unit. Even units at like the ballpark of like 10 or even 20 seconds cooldown are still noticeably affected by this. Obviously not as much, but the change is still somewhat noticeable. Even more especially if they're already powerful meta units like Can, Courier, or even Octopus. Just having to be able to spam them more often is incredibly powerful. Octopus, for example, being able to stop wave more often with his wave blocker being more spammable. With less gap between two Octopus, this means that you'll just have much more leeway in actually blocking waves. Even if the frontmost Octopus dies very quickly, another one will immediately replace it. Courier Cat being spammable, I don't think I need to explain too much about this if you already know what Courier Cat does. Not only that it increases his stackability, this also means that even if he dies very fast, you'll be able to snipe enemies pretty often. And Can does whatever the heck Can does. Can just does Can things because Can. And there's also one more special case that I'm sure some of you might be wondering why I haven't mentioned this, because this one is extremely special. A little rocky cat unit called Boulder Cat. Yeah, if you know about this unit, you know what's up. Boulder Cat, if you're not familiar with, is a cheap 300 cost unit with one of the highest speed in the game, one of the highest health in the game, yes that includes Ubers, and almost every immunity in the game, except that it instantly dies every time it hits an enemy. It's like a suicide unit, but yeah. With only 4.8 seconds cooldown, this unit can be used for a variety of things. You can snipe out weak peons or hard to reach weak enemies like assassin bears, you can bait out certain attacks with its high speed for like Cappy Jr. or Hermit Cat, and of course, most importantly, is that you can kind of use him for a meat shield. You see, Boulder Cat doesn't technically immediately die after attacking. He needs to actually finish his attack animation before it completely vanishes from the battlefield. During this death animation of him cracking up like an egg, Boulder Cat is still considered alive, and therefore enemies cannot push through him. And since he has extremely high base HP, it is extremely unlikely for enemies to kill him first before his attack animation is finished, unless you're playing Start UL and there's like a bunch of Sorels. His attack animation is about 1.3 seconds long to complete, and his cooldown is 4.8 seconds long. So essentially, if you're spamming him constantly, you would have a perfect stalling 27% of the time, and that's pretty pretty good. 27% isn't that big, but pretty fair if you ask me for perfect stalling, right? Oh, whoops, I accidentally put in an L research combo in my lineup and he now has a 2.2 seconds cooldown. Now he can stall 1.3 seconds cooldown over 2.2 seconds, which is a perfect stall for 60% of the time. That's kinda nuts. A singular unit being able to perfectly stall every single enemies in the game 60% of the time is quite crazy if you think about it. This isn't even counting, you know, bringing in other meat shields or using status effects. Like sure, for weaker enemies, just using dual eraser you can also kind of somewhat perfectly stall 60% of the time, but in certain stages, especially with enemies that pushes extremely hard and has Omni Strike, Wave Attack, Surge Attacks, or just has really big damage, using just erasers or certain specialized meat shields are simply not enough. But Boulder Cat just works pretty much universally. It don't matter if there's wave or LD or surge or enemies hitting really hard, Boulder can stall them all. The only roadblock, haha, roadblock, get it? Because it's a wait, what am I? Never mind, I thought I had a joke, but okay. I think I associate the word block and ball and I just thought, haha, roadblock, ball, boulder. Okay, I'm very stupid, ignore that. Anyways, my point is, the only problem that Boulder Cat runs into is usually zombie enemies, because zombie enemies can actually block Boulder Cat's path, and zombie peons could potentially just block Boulder Cats, but aside from that, yeah, Boulder Cat basically perfectly stalls everything. Aside from stalling, remember that he also has all of those previous use cases, especially with like the baiting attack stuff. That baiting attack thing is also very powerful for enemies like Cappy Jr. or Hermit Cat, because Cappy Jr., who is able to do surge attacks, and Hermit Cat that has the ability to do wave attacks actually needs to land their attacks on something to be able to use those surge attack or wave attacks. Except that you are able to time your boulder perfectly to the point where these guys would just be attacking nothing because Boulder Cat is already dead, and because of that they would just straight up not do any waves or surge, and that is extremely powerful, especially against Cappy Jr. And I've made an entire whole strat about this a couple of years ago, and these are just like one out of many use cases on why Research Rock is really powerful. Research Combo can go a super long way and easily makes Boulder Cat from just a good unit to potentially borderline broken. Also, you might ask, why did you just stop at Research L earlier when I talked about Research Combo with Boulder Cat? It's because if you add another combo, it's just gonna go down from 2.2 seconds to 2 seconds. Because remember, they have a 2 seconds cap for units cooldown. It's still an improvement on going down from 2.2 seconds to 2 seconds, but how much worth that is kind of debatable. Like, I know that Research Combo is good, I've been talking about this whole time, but there are times where you might not want to bring too much Research Combo or just not bring Research Combo in general, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes unfortunately it really would just be a waste of slot. Despite how good Research Rock can be, wasting up like 5 slots in your lineup for a singular meat shield can still be a questionable investment. You need more than just good meat shielding to beat the stage, you know? You need to know on when to stop bringing Research Combo. You need to know how much Research Combo are you willing to bring. Is it actually worth sacrificing your unit variety for the sake of adding Research Combo? How much would this matter in the stage? How much of your units in your lineup actually gets affected by this? Will certain units already hit the cap of 2 seconds cooldown? Does certain unit have way too long of a cooldown for Research Combo to matter? And do you even have enough money to spawn your units with Research Combo? Like, for example, there's units like Belly Dancer or Dark Laser. These guys have pretty low cooldown and generally benefits extremely well with Research Combo, but they also drain a lot of money. They actually cost quite a lot for what their cooldown is, especially Dark Laser. If you spam them constantly, especially paired with Research Combo, your money goes down the drain extremely fast. And if you don't have enough money to be able to spam your units, then what's the point of using Research Combo? You might as well not be using them if you can't even spawn your units. Like, yeah, certain stages actually gives you enough cash to spam these units constantly as long as you're killing the enemies, and that's great. But sometimes it's just really not worth. Using research combo well does require some prerequisite of game knowledge to know, like, you know, which unit has what amount of cooldown, how worth will this combo be, will I have the money to even spam the units I have, and will my research combo be too much to the point where it hits the 2 seconds cap? Would it be okay to sacrifice certain key units in my slot for this combo and that combo? There's quite a lot to consider, and it can be quite a headache, and I've seen many people just bringing research combo to like whatever, with like the most atrocious lineup where it's clearly research combo is just wasting their slots. But man, oh man, if you can get the knowledge check right with the right lineup, the right combos, and the right units, and then you see how fast your units can spawn, and you just think to yourself, oh my goodness, this combo is just absolutely godlike. Research combo just completely breaks the fundamental of unit balancing. It's like where most combos would affect a unit up to like 20 or 30% at most, research combo are able to affect a unit by like 50 or even like 100% or even more than that. Like, okay, you could use a small and medium damage up combo at once to increase your courier's attack by 25%, right? But you could also use a medium research combo to spawn him 36% faster. And if you use a large research combo, he spawns 67% faster. You could use resist combo or defense combo to increase your specialized meat shield's health like Shigong by 20 to 30%. But with just research M, you're already able to spawn Shigong 41% faster than usual. And if you use research L, 81% faster. By the way, for Ramen and Rover, research M already spawns them 81% faster. You don't even need to use L. You could use slow effect medium combo to allow your Psycho Cat to slow enemies 20% longer. But with medium research combo, you're already able to spawn Psycho Cat 28% faster, which also helps with consistency and hitting multiple targets at once, not just the slow duration. You see how crazy this is? Well, I mean, okay, this doesn't outright replace other combos either, right? Like, yeah, you still want defense up or damage up so a unit can pass a certain damage threshold in surviving or killing enemies. So those are stuff that research combo might not really be able to replace. Or sometimes you might just not have enough money in the stage to be able to constantly spam your units. Or maybe you want freeze combos so that a singular bomber cat to be able to perma-freeze. But with research, you still get a somewhat similar outcome. Like, you can get a tighter line of meat shielding, you can get more chance to spam your units for better damage output and stackability, you're able to spawn multiple bomber cats to achieve perma-freeze. It might not do the exact same thing, but you do get a somewhat similar outcome. And remember, like for example, right, like defense combo. Defense combo only increases health and damage combo only increases damage, and debuff specific combos like freeze up only improve that specific debuff. But research combo increases the effectiveness of basically everything at once. Again, not literal in actually increasing health or increasing damage or increasing how long the duration of a debuff is, but the outcome is still pretty similar in a lot of situations. This is especially crazy on all-rounder units like Can or Manic Island or Cameraman that I've mentioned earlier and so on. The way that it can benefit multiple ways at once is just extremely powerful on all-rounder units. The damage output that they do on the field is bigger. How long these units can persist in the field can be improved. How effective their status effects can be. All that is improved just by the prospect of being able to spawn your units faster. As long as you have enough money to actually spawn them, yes. But if you do, it's just an extremely powerful combo to actually bring to a lineup. Research combo is just that good. And man, like, as much as I love research combo, it does sometimes concern me on how powerful this combo is. Like seriously, no other combo has this amount of potential. It's kind of crazy. There would be a couple of times where I would be doing like behemoth stages or something like that, and I'd just be using like research combo, manic eraser, courier, can, and like 2 random units for pretty much like 90% of behemoth stages, and it would just work. This combo is just making things work. Well, I mean, sure, Behemoth and Behemoth Slayer interaction is also part of this huge mistake, but still, feels like research combo being able to do all that is still a pretty big contributing part of it as well. This is also the case for Boulder Cat. Like, there's a couple of times where I'd be using Boulder Cat and research combo, and it'd just be absolutely destroying certain stages, and how it would just be broken in so much stages installing, and you're just looking at it and and be like, wow, this is kind of too much, isn't it? Well, okay, I mean, I'd be lying if I say I hate Research Combo, because I absolutely don't. Research Combo still has unique depth to it, of like somewhat of a, you know, like risk and reward kind of deal that I enjoy strategizing around. I don't use Research Combo in every single chance I get, because there's quite a lot of times where I would know that I shouldn't be sacrificing certain amount of slots just for Research Combo. I would still need the variety of units for certain stages, and I think it's just fun to strategize around that, you know? I mean, I'm sure players in general have recognized how powerful Research Combo is. It's definitely not a secret. You've definitely seen this combo being used a lot or being recommended a lot, or how a lot of players would recommend buying Mr. and Zombie Cat to newer players purely because of the Research Combo. But it does sometimes get to the point of overuse. Not overuse in a way where it's like, oh, it's so broken, everybody uses it, but the overuse kind of way where it's like the one that I said earlier, where it would just be wasting slot because certain people would just be bringing it without really realizing on what it does. Sometimes people just bring it because they're like, well, this is a good combo because people say so and people bring it in their lineups, and so I'm bringing it in my lineup too, without realizing that their whole lineup does not get affected by Research Combo. So I think it's important to have this discussion, you know, on like what makes Research Combo to be actually good and all that stuff. You need to actually know what it does, or else it's just gonna be a waste of slot. So with this video, I hope that you can understand Research Combo a little bit more. Not just to tell you about how interesting Research Combo is in general, but just to also help you recognizing on how to build your lineup around Research Combo. Because in the right hands, Research Combo is just that good. It's so good to the point where Vigler gets bumped up so high in a lot of tier lists purely because of this Research Combo. Some people don't even know what Vigler does. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that haven't even ever spawned Vigler in their life and would consider Vigler to be a top tier Uber purely because he has really good Research Combo. Like, it's actually just that good. But yeah, I think that's about all I want to talk about. Did I miss anything that could have been talked about here? Let me know in the comments, I guess. If you have any other thoughts, also let me know in the comments. And remember to do your own research before using Research Combo. I can't believe I haven't made that pun this entire video. I actually kind of just thought about this when I was writing down the script up until this point. But yeah, anyways, catch you another time. That's about it. See ya.